and healthy, and all your dear ones are also safe and healthy. I'm Soumya Prasada and my colleague Lalit Agarwal with me. We are going to talk about why AI matters. Let's begin our session with watching some video. Give me a minute. I hope everybody was able to listen to the video clearly. One of you can confirm.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes,
Thank you. Okay. So let me come to the video. I hope you got a gist of the use case there about the fashion. Let me come to that use case little later. AI is all around us today, right? And from mass surveillance to mind reading machine, each and every day, it seems like another alarming prediction about the potential AI is happening, which is going to change the world. But we don't give enough attention to the practical AI application that are in use around us. These real practical AI application are really not really futuristic or a creepy actually. Sometimes you feel that these AI applications are very can perform only mundane work, but in actual sense these provide the practical value to the business and consumer, and they are not leading us to impending doom. So AI does have a potential to change our world. Every one of us, and is thinking that AI and these robotics and the computers is going to take a control away from humans. But not that is not the case in the reality. The AI application that we see will really more going to augment the human activity rather than replacing it. As we are continuing to witness actually that great computing power and more connected world, which gives a lot of data, practical AI technologies like natural language processing, computer vision, and machine learning will really becoming more and more useful in our day-to-day life. So let's talk about actually we think that, oh, AI is something magic, all those. But today, if you really see, you all have access to the AI right in your pocket. All of us can ask our mobile phone the question like, what is the temperature outside? What's the time now? And what's the time of the, where is my, what's the time that my grocery store down the road will close for the day? From an international data, from an international query to there is very something, very closer to your location. Related to those questions also, it can answer. First, mobile phone understands your question, access the answers it online, and then answer our question in our language. Basically, every day, the ability to interpret and process language is fast growing use of AI. So let's take, other than our personal query, which outside of person's uses on your phone, even NLP, natural language generation, provides the context to the results you see in a report. Example, some complex report. It really helps you to understand what is exactly the context and why the result is appearing, why and how. Part also it can explain. And even it helps to explain the output of the machine learning model, something that you have created some applications and you want to know that why the result is given that way, right? It has a capability, the NLP generation has a capability to explain the output. So these kind of a natural language generations basically helps the humankind by giving a kind of, these helps the verbal explanation can help the complex analytics to accessible to any common person. Even if we don't understand machine learning, deep learning, but these are the real practical AI applications helps us to get a lot of informations, right? And and we do not need to have a deep background of analytics and all. It makes our life by very easy. So let's take one more example, like as I mentioned that, a key practical AI concepts like natural language processing, computer vision, and the machine learning. Computer vision is basically, really demonstrating a new use cases and a innovative use cases helps the mankind and augment the human activities. Let's take one of the example for the computer vision. Basically, today doctors are using computer vision to measure and classify tumors on medical images. And it doesn't really, only a doctors are using, right? Even conservationists are using a computer vision to analyze the photos of the animal footprints to help and monitor endangered species without explicitly or tagging the animals, right? It's very difficult, but they are able to monitor it and perform these. Earlier, without this AI application, it wouldn't have been possible. These are some examples that how it can augment. These AI practical applications are augmenting our day-to-day life. And let me give an example of, on the healthcare. You can see in the slide that I've put many examples. Let's take the example of medical care. In India, unfortunately, cancer cases are rising by 300% in a year. So 1.16 million new cancer cases are being reported in 2018. And in that 7,84,800 cancer deaths as per the 2018 report. Let's take an example. Let's think about it, that how many oncologists are available in India for this huge population? It is just 1,000, sorry, it's only 1,000 trained oncologists are there. If you really see the patient and the doctor ratio, oncologist is 1:2,000. That means there are many people are not even able to meet the doctor, right? How can AI applications, help the doctor to augment this, right? We do have, such implementations using what IBM's Watson, which really helps the doctor to basically AI can go through the huge clinical data and show these results to the doctor, and they can take a right decision. And not only that, this is basically each individual is different, each individual medical history and genetics are different, right? This really help the doctors to give a right path for each of the patient. And additionally, for us as a common person, it is helping that, like, without before 15 years before, we didn't have an opportunity to really have a second opinion kind. So these AI application help us to have a second opinion. That, and not only that, unimaginable data it can process so quickly and get the very, very different insights. Maybe it is humanly it wouldn't have been possible for us. So I have in this slide, like, if I can talk about these AI use cases. List goes on and on, because IBM been working with the real customer in various in a various domain. So in our unprecedented time, so we all depended on online e-commerce food delivery app to get a food for us, right? If you really noticed, actually there is behind the scene, there is an AI. The moment you log into the site, it starts recommending you that, okay, these are the list you have bought previously. These are the person who has already bought this has already along with that item, the user has bought another things, right? Unknowingly, we are each and every day using AI applications. They have become our part of our life to improve our lives. Here, I have given an example of one music, right? Even in the music world, for a compositions and many more use cases, actually AI being applied, and there are beautiful UI videos out there that how our IBM has been helping Grammy Award musician to compose the best music, right? Because including the emotions. Music is basically very personalized, and each person's emotions, that use case. And now pharmaceutical, in this unprecedented time for us, you can think about that, how AI is really helping pharmaceuticals, right? We are really racing against the time in this to vaccination for the COVID. Any vaccination take maybe a 2 to 3 years, but pharmaceuticals company is leveraging AI to see that how these vaccination which are available for the other diseases can be repurposed, so that each of these molecules they are and the chemicals they are studying and applying an AI in that space too. And definitely in schools and colleges and courses, you can see, go to the Coursera courses, there you do see there is an AI applied there too. And a space management, as we are going to a tough times, and most of the business are trying to get back to the work in a very different ways. Even space management, right? What is exactly the total space is available, total employee, when the employees has to be done only 30%, how it can be allocated, right? All of these actually if you see, in all of these use cases, AI applications are the saviors, and we are using it, which helping us every day. And you might think that, okay, why did I put here the cricket, right? In a sports field, a lot of AI has been applied. Take an example, as cricket is very popular in India, and we do not have enough access to the coach, right? And they do follow a lot of methodologies that from a beginning, video recording, then how they have played, right? That's not good enough. now, and how they have really gone one step ahead, saying that in the US, basically it is a tennis. And I think in an Australia, they really leverage a lot of AI applications to really see that which player best can play in which pitch. Example, the Australian team coming to an India, to the Eden Park, and they really know that in this pitch, which player in their team can play better, right? So these are the really know some of the use cases used. And not only that, even the coach, these are very popular games, and around the world, all the players will be traveling around the world, and it is not possible for the coach to stay along them all the time, right? But AI is helping them such a way that they keep video streaming, and not only just video streaming, applying an analytics to it, and what was the best moment, and when that shot has been played, what is that actually a facial expression, and then the shot, and how the opponents, it does helps that to in each of your opponent, how you need to strategize your game. So these are the things. So let me come back to the slide that you see here on the fashion. I hope you have gone through that video. That video is basically one of the Indian customer in India, how IBM helped the fashion industry to come out with the the AI application is built which leverages the computer vision, right? So let me give a little background on that video. That today we are 30 billion is the size of the total unsold inventory in the fashion, right? How does it matter to me, you might thinking, right? Because we are the consumer of that fashion, but same time this unsold inventory is basically creating a lot of environment disruptions or a friction in the environment, right? Because let me give you some statistics here. 2,700 liters of water to produce cotton t-shirt, and 7 to 8,000 liters of a pair of a jeans. Imagine the India is in a continent, and the kind of a population, and one t-shirt takes this much water, then imagine. And then these, suppose in a fashion industry, earlier it used to be a 2 season, right? But it's no more valid that season. When I worked with the retail, I understood now that it is actually a 56-week season. What it means is actually new design comes every week, and in the first 3 days of the week they need to sell it, otherwise they need to provide a deep discount. Within 2 months, all these unsold inventory will go back and pile up, and either it is burned or landfill. And these cloths takes 200 years to do a biodegradable, and 8,000 types of chemicals are used in the conversion of raw material into the garment. I mean, it's a huge environmental friction, right? Using a computer vision and the other AI capability of IBM, today it is able to predict properly that for this kind of an cloth, what is the design it suits well, and what is the demand it can be. It could be a cold shoulder, it should be a full sleeves, right? So that's a kind of solution we have built, which helps designer to seller be the product at the right time, right place, right price, and in the right location, right? And it really helps the environment too. So I just wanted to give you guys the stage, saying that we think that AI is something, something that we are not been using every day, but it is not true. We are using in some, or either we are part of the creating the AI application, or we are the consumer of the AI applications. So these are some of the example, and it's not only specific to the computer industry, right? Basically, as I given you an example, that teachers, coaches, and in each and every form, they need to be aware of how to use this AI application, right? Some of them might deep computer students can work on the ML and the deep learning and create this AI application, but some of us will be a consumers or some of us are creators on this, right? And I think as a faculty for you also, it is very, very challenging, challenging times that how do you stay ahead of the time and ahead of the students, because today each and every student has an access in their mobile to all of these information which is available out. How can you be relevant and be able to answer their queries and provide them a right practical guidance on each of your topics, right? So
2 साल का करें तो भाई स्टेबिलिटी में रहे वो लोग.
can everybody be moved, please, if you are not talking? So I have given a couple of AI applications, right? So how exactly in the journey of an AI applications is important? How do we really go step by step to build AI applications, right? This is what IBM's view and perspective. Team, can you please on mute? There is a background noise.
मतलब कुछ हाँ नहीं असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में लो तुम दो.
Thank you. So the IBM created an AI ladder, which is basically, as you all know, that for to build an AI application, it is important is a data. Without data, nothing.
कर तो लिया रोज अटेंड.
The host can mute everyone, please.
लेकिन अब एक इंटरेस्टिंग आ रहा है 5-6 तारीख से पंजाब इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेज है ना. एक सप्लाई चेन तुम्हारे फील्ड का नहीं.
Team.
एक्चुअली प्रोडक्शन वो है ना मैनेजमेंट का है.
Ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, kindly help him. Actually, the person who was host, there is some problem in his net. I'm unable to reclaim. Can you just change the role to host at the name of Mayank Agarwal? Because you are the host at the moment.
Okay.
There was some problem in his net, so you automatically became the host, and I'm unable to reclaim by the key.
Give me
and excuse me, even ma'am can also block that.
I'll help in blocking the. I'll help him.
Okay.
I'll do
okay.
the. I'll do the favor.
Thank you.
Just on my name and the right hand side, give change to host. Mayank Agarwal.
Yeah. Actually, 1 second. Actually, I'm having.
Okay.
Because of screen sharing.
I am trying to reclaim, but I don't know why this is not allowing me to reclaim.
My actually WebEx, it looks like completely frozen.
Just hold on, ma'am. Otherwise, I'll do.
Oh, no.
Nishan sir, if you are there trying to reclaim, I am unable to reclaim.
So, okay, whom I need to give? I'm able to.
M-A-Y-A-N-K. Mayank. M-A-Y-A-N-K.
Yeah, I'm changing the.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. I'll manage it. Please continue, ma'am.
Okay. Everybody can see my screen?
Yeah, ma'am, please.
Yeah. So to build an AI application, it's important that you start your journey from collecting the data, organizing the data, and analyzing and then infusing. In today's sessions, basically, we are going to talk about how you can infuse and operationalize AI and what are the set of business tooling is being provided by IBM to help to build these different AI use cases. So, I mean, this slide is a very, very important. It could be in any of your AI application. Your journey can anywhere it can start. If you already collected the data, you can move into an organized stage and refine it, and then you can move to the analyze and then infuse. But it is important and make sure that you are having this ladder one by one. If you suddenly jump into an infuse without collecting the data, organizing it and analyzing it, you will not be able to build on a good AI applications, right? And there is, there is no AI without an IA. It is actually an information architecture. There is no artificial intelligence without the information architecture. And currently, though from 2006, it's AI, machine learning, AI, ML, and deep learning is very, very popular. But 80% of the data is either inaccessible or untrusted or unanalyzed, right? We have a lot of potential to work on that. And the opportunities are humongous for all of us in all of the domain. It doesn't really only settles into the computer. It is actually in a design industry or a fashion, retail, transportation, logistics. Every domain has an opportunity. So in today's sessions, basically, as I talk to you that why AI is important and how AI matters and how we are using AI application in our day-to-day life, and then what actually IBM provides the step-to-step journey so that your journey to create an AI application is very smooth. And along with that, today we are going to talk about the infuse part of the AI, which is, and what are the IBM's offering, IBM provides in these things. So today mostly we'll cover what's an assistant, speech to text, text to speech, and natural language understanding. These are the set of the things, and my colleague also will join me on, he was going to take the Watson Discovery and Watson Knowledge Studio. Let me going to the directly. So I'm hoping that everybody has an IBM Cloud account. And so let me quickly go through the IBM Cloud. You would have already registered. We have in the afternoon sessions, we are going to do a hands-on, which is basically you need to have an IBM Cloud account. So when you log into the cloud.ibm.com, you can have you can register with your email ID. You get in a confirmations, and you will be, once you log in with your email ID, you will be able to see this view, right? As I mentioned that as we are witnessing the growing computing power, right? Why AI became very popular recent days, because our computing power has grown in three folds. And so our IBM Cloud provides a buffet of things for you. You can pick and choose that which area you want to use in this, which starts from the computing, containers, networking to storage to AI and machine learning, analytics and blockchain and database, developer tools, logging, integrations, Internet of Things, and security and a mobile, right? In any of this category, actually, we have provided and made everybody's life easy by providing the services, right? If you wanted to, for your college or, for any of your use case, or if you to make your students' life easy, that you're hosting it in a VM in IBM Cloud, so that across your students can be able to access. And in this unprecedented time, I think it is very, very important that IBM, cloud capabilities are gaining popularity. And if, IBM wouldn't have been stayed ahead of the games, I think it would have been in a very, they are able to sustain the business, that resiliency to do, and an adaptability where we are able to do it very quickly because of all these technologies, right? But today I'm going to focus only on AI and machine learning. So in an AI and machine learning category, we have set of these APIs and a business tooling, basically. What does mean by business tooling is basically it is a low code, easy to use. You really do not have to write so much code, it is okay that you are not having a deep understanding of machine learning and a deep learning, still you will be able to create an AI application using this list of services. So we will go few of them we are going to cover today. It is open. There are good documentations. It might look an overwhelming beginning of the beginning now, but it is easy, trust me. And we made it very easily by documentation. In each of the documentation, you can see the demo, what is basically high level gone behind the scenes, and all these information is provided. So now let me jump into the Watson Assistant. So all of us would have heard a lot of virtual assistant in our daily daily lives, that it could be a banking chatbot, or it could be a retail chatbot, it could be an e-commerce chatbot. A lot of chatbot we are have seen and interacted and posted our queries, right? How can we create this virtual assistant, right? Virtual assistant, which is not only that, it can handle, it can understand and then answer your queries, right? To create such cool virtual agent, we will be leveraging the Watson Assistant. Let me first show you some of the demo. Let's jump into the demo. So let's see that, as we are all anxious at this time, that whenever we hear and raising COVID numbers, we have our own questions, and where we can where are the test centers, what are the symptoms, what is the status today. We are very, very anxious to know, and it's very difficult for a government to actually to have any call center, right? Because the kind of volume, it will be like humongous, and the resources needed and the investment needed is a huge, right? So we do have a answer for that we can create a COVID-19 assistant which provides you in your own language. Not that India is a very varied country that we have so many languages, but here there is a it can translate it in Hindi and Telugu and in English. Let's this is a virtual assistant, and I would like to know that basically, I have a lot of query in my mind, and I want to know that how this assistant is going to help me, right? So it's already clearly given that how this assistant can help us. It can help in the help to know the symptom testing and prevention and treatment, and it can always also give a data and statistics, common questions, and government strategies. Let me start with what is the symptoms. Okay, so you can find so very crisp and summarized way the assistant is able to give us. I hope everybody is able to see the screen. It is able to give me the answer that the virus is responsible for COVID-19 is a new type, and when it has discovered, and when it has been, all of the information, right? And as a human, when we are having a conversation, example, not in the session, but always as a we wanted to digress and ask, like, maybe I'll be talking a topic on the AI, then suddenly I'll remember that what is an experience I had while teaching this topic to others, right? We digress from one topic to others, right? This is basically machine, and mostly work with the protocols. How is it is able to understand in whatever I talk in a natural language and getting that context, right? So that is also is what an assistant is able to do. So I just asked the symptoms. Now suddenly I want to know the status. Right? So it says that I mean it was a very even for human, for us, that when we are talking, somebody gives a just interrupt you with maybe something that you will not be able to understand it actually, that what is it saying? I want to now, right? I want to know the status of Chennai. My relatives are there, and you know, I'm okay. Okay, it is giving an sometime. I think it's not been totally trained. And okay, let me get the. Give me a number of numbers in Delhi. So it is able to, like, you know, what are the confirmed cases, active, and stuff. So how let's you have seen now the application. Now let's jump into the tool, that how easy to build this virtual assistant, right? Basically things are changing, and you have to very quickly build, because every day the things and the details will be changed. Through our Watson assistant, how can we do that? So let me jump here, and you can see the service Watson Assistant. But for the, considering the time, I already have in my catalog the service. I'll go to my dashboard. So look for a Watson service and create is the one click that you can create, and you can see that I did already created, and I will launch it. And all these services are, the architecture follows the microservices architecture, that it has an REST API, and it can connect it to the any of your external systems also. So you can create an assistant, add a skill to it. So mainly Watson Assistants basically has a 3 components to it. So you have seen that I have created a skill with a COVID-19 skill for the citizen, which you show in the seen in the demo, that the different questions you have done. So it has a main 3 components basically. That first, it understands the intent, right? The word understand is not basically, it's not easy, right? Because it's a machine and we are talking in the natural language, right? So it uses AI and machine learning, and it takes user input and match it with the predefined concept, what is defined in a Watson assistant called intent, right? So in an intent, you need to example basic. Suppose if you have created this virtual agent, which you need to answer some of the questions, right? You're going to train with what is the intent of this virtual agent, and what is it can answer, right? So this is an agent which can help to provide coronavirus details. So it has an example. It has a minimum. For a training, you need to have a variation of these questions. Minimum 10 you need to provide. The more you the more you train, it is good. Again, you should not be doing overdo, because your assistant starts providing a very different answers. So these are very important, the life cycle of creating virtual agent, that you need to do a k-fold testing and all those. But it is very easy. You can see that behind the scene there is a machine learning and a deep learning, but you don't have to you need not be an expert, but you can come to the tool and define the intent. Now once intent, the next, let's identify that the 3 components. One is intent, entities, and basically dialogue. Now let me walk you through the entities. Basically entities, which are the words that can be used to differentiate at a granular level the details of the intent. Basically, when you are asking a question, you might say that what is the status in Andaman or Nicobar, right? Like basically you want to know very specific to that particular location, right? So such details you can define that, okay, when he says the Karnataka, right? In a Karnataka, there are different districts. You define it in under the under entities, and you will be doing a very detailed hands-on in the afternoon. Just have an understanding that, okay, how do I create a service, and then what are the three main components in this, and this is the basically dialogue, which is manages keeping the flow of the conversation with the bounds set by your author, right? Basically, this can cater into only the COVID details. It cannot give you the nearest to your retailers when the store is open. It cannot give, right? Because the intent, the virtual agent can help you with only the certain, certain answer which you have designed this virtual agent to be. So in this case, it's a COVID-19, whatever we have done. In the afternoon, you will be going deep that just you need to provide the user example, and as a developer, while you are creating it, you don't have to have a whole of a testing life cycle to understand that am I doing wrong or right. You can directly test here, and also it gives a integration touch point to integrate with the UI and many of the capabilities basically. So you can have the preview link, and here it is in the Watson Assistant. You can Watson Assistant used mostly a short, like it is between the 3 to 20 words, right? Like it when it gives an answers also with a short tail, right? When you wanted a long tail, which you could see in my demo, right? When it pulled out a document and given you the information. To add that capability, we need a Watson Discovery. That is again one of the business tooling which Lalit will be taking. So this is about Watson Assistant. Let me quickly go to the now. Let me go to the NLU or speech to text. So we do have a speech to text. Let me see a demo for that. Maybe let me go first the language translator. This is the Watson Assistant, one of the service. And second, let me now in my demo, you saw that even we were the virtual agent was given that you can speak in Hindi. Your questions can be in Hindi, and it will try to answer in Hindi language, Telugu language, and the English, right? Really, Watson Assistant doesn't do that. Actually, what it needs is in that particular solutions, we have integrated the language translator, which is converting English into the, because I showed you the workspace, what we call the where intent entities and the dialogue was there. Everything was written in the English, right? And then you can use the translator to language translator to convert your question and answers. So a lot of even Indian languages have been provided for the as a language translator: Gujarati, Hindi, Malayalam, and even Telugu, Tamil. Is like you can translate easily. This this service or the capability you can.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, many participants are requesting that is it possible? Little zoom in.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay. Little zoom it. How do I do that? Okay, let me try it. Is it better?
Yeah, ma'am. Please, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah. So it has all these now. Languages. Let me take an English to Hindi or simple. Actually, these are all available for you. Then you can try it in your leisure too. Right? Where is my English? Okay. So you can do the translation. Yeah, Hindi. I do not know the Hindi, so I was looking for the English. So this is a translator we have, which can be into. I just wanted to highlight here is always to build a particular AI application or a solution. We need couple of these kind of services together to build a particular solutions. Okay, and we do have actually a text to speech where you can do the text and convert into the file as a speech files. As you speak, it can create a thing. So this is also can be integrated with Watson Assistant, and we do have out of the box in a voice agent that think of a person who is like will not be able to type it, right? We do have a very it's an inclusive society that we need to accommodate everybody so that they can just speak, and the speech can be speech can be converted into text, and text can be converted into speech itself. In this case, I am demonstrating the text one, which can be converted it as an as you speak, actually it creates.
Conscious of its spiritual and moral heritage, the Union is founded on the indivisible, universal values of human dignity, freedom, equality, and solidarity. It is based on the principles of democracy and the rule of law. It places the individual at the heart of its activities by establishing the citizenship of the Union and by creating an area of freedom, security, and justice.
Yeah, so this is basically, if you give a text, it is automatically converted into the speech. So how it is helpful is basically Watson Assistant is have a capability to have only text, right? So in case of an speech, suppose you want to integrate your call center, then it will first speech to text, it will convert, then that text is passed on to the Watson Assistant. When Watson Assistant fetch the answer in the form of text, and that text will be given to text to speech to convert back so that you will hear it, then answer in the speech mode. Okay, so these are the couple of services. Again, this is again easy to use. You can go to the IBM Cloud, add a service, and it will provide you a API and integrate it. And one more, I think, let me go back to the products, what I have showed it. Yeah, in the list. So basically we covered the Watson Assistant part of it, high level, and we did cover text to speech, and we covered already the language translator, how it can dynamically translate the news and patent and stuff. Now let me go back to the slide, and let's quickly summarize that what are these services. What three we learned is basically Watson Assistant we learned, which helps the customer to do a self-serve faster. We have seen the demo about it. We saw the workspace, that how it can integrate, and how different channel, right? Like as you might be using the mobile phone, mobile messaging, you might be using through the web, you might be using through the Slack, you might be calling through the phone. Any of these channels we can integrate. And advantage of having this Watson Assistant, that you don't have to recreate again and again for a different channels, right? The workspace can talk to any of these channels. Like some of the use cases you want to create only web or a messaging or a speech, it's only voice, right? Still you can go ahead and integrate. It provides an API, and you can do that. The skill we will come to the Watson discovery, that how it can be integrated easily and assist the agent. So these are some of the example that because of we have such technology with us, that we are able to build such virtual agent very quickly and in a very, very different domain, right? So a lot of government has used these virtual assistant, that people have a lot of questions about health, and when the transport is opening, when the schools are opening, and what is the guideline, and for each of the state, each of the district, it varies, right? So this really helps to scale to do it. And then even I'm sure now, since you are doing already online classes and all, if you have such agent built, it would really make, augment your work basically. Like even you can, what is the link you need to, courses you need to follow, and all the informations, right? So why, what is an advantage of having such business tooling is basically low code. I have demonstrated now that I didn't do any coding in that, right? It was easy to build, and it can be improved continuously, and it can be connected to any channels, and it can bring own insights also. In a Watson assistant, it can digress, and it can actually, while you're training the intents, actually it can recommend that what is the similar or a variation of the input you need to train to give. So lots of capability is available, and even it is an enterprise grade. In the Forrester, it is rated as the best enterprise API. So this is an architecture, and text to speech, we already talked about it. Let me walk you through the speech to text, how it helps. And IBM is really a pioneer and invested a lot of research thing in the voice recognition, and those are the research algorithms have been embedded in our speech to text. What is the difference that you might have in your mobile and other kind of tools or applications which are helping, right? But what is the differentiation factor in our speech to text is basically you can train as per your domain, that is, and the different languages also can be trained. More importantly, that we are for a business, right? In a healthcare, we did. I was part of that project that we did build a voice assistant for the healthcare. Healthcare, that the user comes and validates their user ID, and it automatically guides them that in their policy what are they are entitled to, and it's a complex process, makes it easy, and everything through the voice. No, this one, the user is on the phone, and when you're in the phone, there is a lot of chances that there is a noise, background noise. Example now, right? Like even for our human, we can stop, right? But as a speech to services, we'll try to grab whatever it is able to hear it, right? How we can reduce those noise, and users are talking around voice. How can we really train the speech to text to give a business value? And second thing is basically we do have a lot of business specific acronyms, right? In an anti-money laundering, they might be using in the auditing firm like an AML, right? How do you make understand the system that when the user talk that suppose you are building an AI application very specific to the auditing firm, then you need to customize what they need, right? So speech to text allow us and to customize those domain specific capabilities also. Let me go to the demo. This is the pre-built demo what we have. I will bear with me for as I'm logging in. I hope everybody has, have a cloud account, so that these are the services, though we are today not doing the hands-on, you will be able to access and see yourself that what is the service. And once you create the service, actually, what are the details, you can access it, right? So let me show the demo that in this demo we have already trained some of the example is retail customer care.
Welcome to Zapata Online. How may I help you? ordered a Trip4 robot vacuum cleaner last week, which got delivered yesterday. The vacuum cleaner appears to be damaged. I was wondering if I could get a refund.
If the product is damaged, you can return the product to get a full refund. Do you want me to process the return?
That would be awesome. I had a Micro-Lock water dispenser in the same order. I would like to keep that.
Okay, nothing changes with the water dispenser. Do you have the original box of the package with you?
Yes, I still have the Trip4 box with me.
In that case, I can generate a return label for you. Thank you for contacting Zapata Online.
Sounds great. I can do that. Thank you.
So you can see, and you might the speech to text do have language training that as I mentioned, that for a domain specific, these are the trainings you can do, and this is what is out of the box base model, and they have given you a comparison that in this demo we have already trained for the custom model, that how the accuracy is different. When the user spoke about the conversation is between the water filter, the customer is having an issue with the water filter, and what is the next step he has to do. Each and every word, right, what it has been translated, it is given the percentages, and you can train. And basically each of these services, actually we usually take a workshop 1 or 2 days for each of these service to go very deep dive. As I need to give an overview, I'm just giving you a snippet of things, and there are good documentations, and anytime in your use cases you are using it, you can get in touch with us. So we finished the so how helpful it is basically in this case, that through a voice you can build your solutions to a Watson assistant, and how user experience it will be. So this is a speech to text, and there is a one more service called natural language understanding. So I mean, as a human, we understand. I mean, when first we hear it, what the person is saying, and then we process it, and we bring our own hypothesis. That right is basically machine works in a protocol. How do you really train these natural languages? Right. It is important that it first. How do you make machine understand the natural language part of it? So one of the capability from the one of the capability what we have is let me go is natural language understanding, which where is it here basically. So it is basically the demo. It understands the if you provide a text from that, I try to extract what is exactly an entity, like what is it a person, organization, or a concept, right? So you can see the documentation here that how to use, and even in each of the documentation there is a demo. So let me see that there is one already sample industry domain, that under the IBM board corporate something they have given. So analyze this text. How are we going to? It is going to extract entities, keyword, concepts, and relation from this sentence, and it will classify and provide the confidence. Right? When you build solutions, actually you might suppose you are building a solution which is basically an information. Though it is an information, you need an accuracy, right? You need to provide accurate information. If the system, if this particular service is returning to you only 65%, and you do not want to proceed this one and apply additional ML on that, right? You can go ahead also. That is why the output clearly gives you that okay, it is able to classify the corporate governance committee as an organization, IBM as a company, and different keywords and what are their relevance. And by in an NLU also, some of these services gives the customization option for you based on the domain you are working. and you can customize it. So any of the financial, this is some financial document that IBM Red Hat to fast start together. We show the combination. Any use case you can. I mean, any you can pick up from the web and see that what is exactly it is. Let me. Oh, so any report you can just try putting some of the text, and let's see that. It will allow you to do the analysis, and it can show you. Sorry, it refreshed. I think I have it here. So it has input text, analyze. So this is an extraction. These are the entities in this particular example. Pega is the leader of cloud software, something I picked. And name 35 years, it is, the type is basically quantity and what confidence it is written. So basically to do it. And if you want to do like in your use cases, you want to custom for your domain, you can use a knowledge, Watson Knowledge Studio, which Lalit will be taking, and you will be doing a hands-on also, that how can how this basically this is a part of the text analysis that you can provide in a free-flowing unstructured text, that how it can extract the entities and concepts. That is one of the service what we have in our dashboard. I mean, in our set of capabilities. That's okay, and we do have this is a speech and scenarios with Watson keywords, entities, relations, concepts, and categories can be extracted. And some of the examples. I mean, each of the keyword, how it is analyzed. And we do have a other capability called tone analyzer. The tone analyzer service, again, it's in a service, but we cannot customize more, like how we can customize in an speech to text, where we can train, like in tone analyzer, it is an out of the box that if you give a text, it identifies the tone, like whether it was anger, fear, and then sadness. So in the if we go back again to my example, that in COVID-19, the virtual agent, there actually the text, the user, whatever it is typed, and you can see that whether I mean, whatever you're looking at the text, whether we can analyze. It is more the use case, the more is basically when enhances the, in case of a lot of domains like retail, telecom, in the front desk call center, people can be augmented and provide a great user experience, basically, right? Like, it could be that every day you can some of the customers are when they start having a conversation, the call center person is having this particular have a solution which is integrated with the solution, that it tells that based on the text he has given, actually, which is can speech to text, you can convert, and then that text, already call center people will get a notification saying that, oh, the looks like customer is very angry, right? So that he can provide a lot of soft and smooth conversation with that user. So in those kind of in a use case, we use this tone analyzer, and we do have one more service called Personality Insight to is really personality characteristic. So a lot of research algorithms are embedded in these services. These are black box to you, but you can use it very easily, right? So whether that person has a curiosity, harmony, but again, this all input is a text. Based on the text only it is giving. It is nothing that, okay, based on our mood. It could be that, based on our mood, that way of writing or style of a text is different, then the result might be wrong. But all looking at the text only, it doesn't have any more intelligent to, do it. Language translator, I already talked about it. I think these are the set of APIs one. I'll hand it over to my colleague Lalit to take on the Watson Discovery and the Knowledge Studio.
Yeah, thanks, Soumya. So before that, do you want to take few questions if they have already?
Yeah, sure. So team, I know that, too much of information in a very short 1 hour, but do not worry, as I mentioned that, each documentation so well covered. And when you work very deep on each service, each services itself, it's quite exhaustive the way you can do, different things, build different use cases. We are here to help you. Then you can reach out to us. Is there any question you can unmute?
And some of the other APIs. So I'll specifically talk about Watson Discovery and Watson Knowledge Studio. I'll try to give some demos as well and show how exactly it works, right? And the lab session, I think it will be done by Magesh post lunch, so that will be a 2-hour session. So the next half an hour or 45 minutes, I'll be showing some of the demos to you as well. Right? So to give a background, you have lots of unstructured data, right? So unstructured data can reside in your documents, like PDF documents, your Word documents, you have HTML documents, etc. Right? So how quickly one can find answers or information from such unstructured data, right? So something like if you have any questions or queries, what you do, you usually go to Google, you go type search, and you get some set of responses, right? So that's for the documents which are there in the public domain, right? But within an enterprise or within a big organizations, the information may not be available as publicly in the Google, right? So in that case, you will need some other applications which can give you very quick search results, right? So something like AI powered search, right? So you have seen in the demo that Soumya showed where in the chatbot also it can go and try to fetch answers for the user in some documents and try to give back to the user, right? So that's one of the scenarios where even in the chatbot you have some question, it can go and search through some set of documents and find an answer and give it back to the user, right? So in all those scenarios, you have lots of unstructured data and you want to find answer for your questions, right? So this is a very fine example of AI. Since in public domain, definitely like Google who does like many of these search capabilities, but in the enterprise domain where the kind of Googles that are not available, right? So you need some other application to be built which can go through all your enterprise data and to be able to provide answers, right? So let me. So I'm moving to the next slide. Okay. So this is where Watson Discovery comes into picture. So Watson Discovery is a Watson powered AI application which allows you to build full AI application which can take all your unstructured data, and then you can perform lots of things on top of it, right? So the first thing that happens is that your Watson Discovery needs to connect to your data. So data source may be residing in some other systems, like it may be a SharePoint, it may be FileNet, it may be some other system, right? So which will be hosting all your source documents, right? So Discovery can connect to those source documents, and then it can pull those documents and ingest those documents into itself. So ingesting means that it will read through those documents, it will understand the structure of those documents, and will index it, right? So after doing the ingestion, you can also train Watson Discovery so that it understands how to interpret those results, right? So these documents can be very complex as well, right? So this can be product manuals, or this can be some other set of like research papers or research documents. In that case, it may require that you need to teach Discovery how it should interpret those documents. So there is a nice tool called Smart Document Understanding, where you can visually train how Discovery should interpret those documents. So I'll give you a small demo also, like how exactly you do it. So after doing the teaching of Discovery, then it will also allow you to enrich data, the unstructured data, using NLP capability. So you can, there is inbuilt NLP capability, plus you also have custom NLP capabilities. So the custom NLP capabilities you will do some hands-on after post lunch, right? And once all your data is ingested, you have taught Discovery how to interpret that data, and you have enriched your data using NLP. Then it's time to perform query on top of your results, and then explore your data, and finally you get results from your documents. So what are the various business applications that uses this kind of scenario, right? So as I mentioned, like for enterprises, it becomes very useful for them. So there are a couple of scenarios that where it's useful. So one scenario is you have lots of knowledge workers in the industry. Knowledge worker, like you have a banker, you may have a technician, which mainly depends on knowledge, right? And while he's a knowledge worker, he still need to keep himself up to date to be able to do his day-to-day work in a much more efficient way, right? So for example, you go to a bank, you ask some questions to your banker, right? But he may not be knowing answers to all the questions that you are asking him, right? So he may need to refer to some manual sometimes, or he may refer to some document sometime, or he may need to ask someone to be able to help you, right? So in that case, if he has a system available with him, like something called Expert Assist, where he can go and ask the user questions, and that system can go and search through all the documents and try to find an answer for him, right? So in that way, he'll be able to service his customers in a much more efficient way. And so this is the similar scenario where one of the customers, Prudential in the Singapore, they are using it, where their insurance agents, they're able to answer the queries of their customers in a much more efficient way, right? So similarly, there are many other industries where also the customers are they're trying to use Watson Discovery as an expert assist solution, where the experts or the knowledge workers of that organization is getting benefited, right? Other scenario may be the employees of a company, right? So employees in the company may also have lots of queries related to, like, your HR related queries, your payroll related queries, or lots of other queries, right? And this can help answer them by finding relevant results from a set of documents. So this expert assist is one of the scenario. Another scenario where this AI application is very useful is agent assist, right? So you make a call to a customer care, right? So on the other side, many times what happens is that he will put your call on hold to be able to find or search answers for your query. So sometimes he may escalate it. Sometimes he may ask someone else about the answer, or sometimes he just searches through his set of knowledge articles to be able to find answer to your queries, right? So there also he can make use of a similar system where he can go and search quickly and able to find the relevant result very quickly and be able to help his customers, right? So these are the two very common scenarios. Like one is expert assist, where you are helping your employees and your knowledge workers, and second scenario is like agent assist, where basically the customer care agents also use this kind of a system to be able to find relevant information much more quickly. So let's go through a little bit technical details how exactly it does it, right? So one of the core capability is smart document understanding. Smart document understanding means your document can be a PDF document or a Word document, and the layout of your document can be very complex, right? So there in your document there can be headers, there can be footers, there may be noise, there may be text, right? There may be tables. So your system should be able to understand and interpret all these information, right? So this is where smart document understanding comes into picture. So basically you teach Watson Discovery how it should interpret those documents, and based on that it will be able to interpret it. So let me show a quick demo of this. Okay, so this is basically an interface of Watson Discovery tooling. So when you create the instance of Watson Discovery in IBM Cloud, and then you open the business tooling, you will see a screen something like this, and there is something called collection. So each collection will have a set of documents which it will use to respond to the user queries, right? So in this case, let's use this first one. Okay, and for smart document understanding, we should already have some documents already ingested. So let's see. Okay, so this is one document related to one of the IBM product manual. Okay, so this is a PDF document. As you can see, like this is like multi-page big document, right? And structure is on the left hand side. You see the structure of the PDF document. You'll have a heading, then you have a text, then again you have a heading, then you will have a text. Okay, and in right hand side it's basically showing that each of the lines, like and then the developer will go and annotate each of the lines to be able to train it, right? So train it, basically it will say that okay, this one is a subheading, the below portion is a text, this one is a subheading, below portion is a text. So he will be able to annotate this entire document, and this feature is very good, where like the moment you train a couple of pages, it will start understanding the rest of the pages and it will annotate for you, so that with minimal training you will be able to like teach Discovery so that how it should interpret your documents. So let's see, like subtitle, you mark it as a subtitle, this one. So all these are marked as a subtitle. So let me do it quickly. So then in the document there may also be footers, right? So footers are basically noise in your document. So you are again teaching the system where it should find your footers, or where it should find noise in the document. Okay? So this is the footer again. So these are subtitles. So submitting the page. So the moment you submit the page, it will, behind the scene, it will train a machine learning model for you, right? Using all the visual features and everything. So it will build a machine learning model there itself, and it will use that machine learning model to train rest of the pages or annotate rest of the pages. So another feature is like table. So you can make it understand how it should interpret a table. So you need to annotate the various rows and columns. So for example, so this is the table. So you annotate that this is a column, this is a column, this is a column. Then you annotate, say these are the rows, right? So this is a row, this is a row, this is a row. right? So that you don't need to train, you don't need to annotate each and every page or each and every table of the document. You just need to do like some of them, like 10, 15, 20 of them, and rest of them it will be able to automatically interpret and similarly column headers, you mark these as a column header, and everything it marks as a body. So once this is done, I'm submitting my table. Okay, so you can also annotate like your headers here. So some of these are noise, right? So these are marked as noise, right? So then these, some of them are questions, so they're marked as questions. So in the document, you may also have table of content. So table of content is again a noise probably, which you may want to eliminate, right? So these are marked as table of contents. So again, here you may have thousands of documents, such documents, and you don't need to do this for each and every document, right? So you just need to do it for a couple of documents, and then it will build a machine learning model, and then it will apply that model for rest of the documents, right? So you just need to evaluate that how good this has been done. So if you're satisfied that it's doing correct, so you don't need to annotate each and everything here. Once this annotation is done, so you can eliminate some of the fields that you don't want. For example, you don't want the footers, headers, you don't want, say, table of content. So you can eliminate those fields from your index. And then you can also decide like using which field you may want to split these documents, or you may want to segment the documents. So segmenting here is important because you have one big document which may be 100 of pages, right? And segmenting will allow it to pinpoint where the exact answer is lying in the document. So that's why we suggest that we do segmenting there, right? So after that, let's do a query here. So how do tape optimizers do? So when you fire that query, right? So here it's showing you like much more better results than what it was showing earlier. So I'll show a full demo of Watson Discovery again. So this is just to briefly show how smart document understand, how you use the smart document understanding to visually train a document, right? So you just mark those headings, subheadings, text, rows, columns, header, footers in a document, and based on that, you train how it should interpret the documents. So this is about smart document understanding. So we'll see a full-fledged demo of Watson Discovery again towards the end. Okay. So this another feature is a Watson Assistant search skill. Okay. So Soumya was showing you the Watson Assistant tooling, right? So in the Watson Assistant tooling, so you have multiple skills, and you can also add a search skill. So search skill is basically which will connect to your Watson Discovery collection. So collection will have your set of documents which may have the answer to the queries that user is asking. So in this case, this is a Watson Discovery, this is a search skill, and this search skill is pointing to my Watson Discovery collection here, and there is some configuration that has been given, like where it should find the title, where is the body, what is the file name. So some simple configurations are there. Okay, so once you give this all these configurations, so in your chatbot, when the user is asking something, and if it is not able to find an answer to the user query, in that case it can go and search in your discovery collection, the set of documents, to find an answer. So this is also a very good AI, very good use of AI, where your chatbot is going to the set of documents to find an answer. So let's see here. So this is again another demo. Okay. So I think this is a banking chatbot, right? So where you are going to the bank's website, and you are say then the bank is greeting that, okay, I am say ABC Bank virtual agent, how can I help you? Okay, so it's giving you some options like okay, you want to pay your bills or this thing. So say here the user is he wants to know his foreign fees on his credit card. So for example, he has a foreign credit card, he wants to know his fees on that credit card, right? So let me select this option. So in this case, this question is not a very common question and may not be handled directly by your chatbot, right? A chatbot means Watson assistant. So in this case, Watson assistant will forward this request to Watson Discovery, which will search for this query in the set of documents that it's having and try to fetch an answer, right? So here in this case, it is searching them in a set of knowledge articles, and it's saying that, okay, I found this various 3 different options and giving back to the user. So this can easily be integrated using the search skill to your chatbots also, right? So where chatbots can respond to user queries through searching through your documents. So this is another use case. So another feature is that it has very good connectivity, means so your Watson Discovery is not a source of your document. So your original source may be somewhere else, like it may be a SharePoint, Salesforce, it may be web crawling, or it may be some file system. So it can connect to your various data sources, and it can pull all the data contents from those data sources. Then another AI capability it has is about relevancy training, right? So relevancy training means that when it gives the Watson Discovery gives back the results, how relevant those results are, and that can also be trained, right? So you can for example, you run a query, say Q1, and you got results as A1, A2, A3, but how it should understand that, okay, which one of these is more important for this kind of query, and that can also be trained. So that's basically called relevancy ranking training. So we basically need to provide it with some sample queries, okay, and we need to provide, like, for this kind of sample queries, so these are the results which are relevant. You need to give a score, say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, some score like that, and based on that we trigger building of a machine learning model, right? And that machine learning model will then, in the runtime, it will use that same machine learning model when a new user query comes in. So it will use that same machine learning model to be able to rank all the results that it should show back to the user, right? So here again, so this building of this model is also very easy here. So it's like even the business users can do this kind of a training, like you have seen in case of smart document understanding. So where you just need to annotate the documents to be able to build that machine learning model and train it. So similarly for relevancy training model also, we can do it visually, where we can provide some of the queries, and then we can mark which queries are relevant for this kind of a what results are relevant for this kind of a query. We can mark them visually and then build the model automatically. So that can be done very easily. Also there is a continuous learning available. So continuous learning is something similar to what Google does to train its model, right? So how Google learns is that when you do search something and you click on a link, and based on that it learns that, okay, for this kind of a query, this third link is more relevant, and gradually that third link will move up in the responses and may move up to second or first, because lots of users are clicking on that third link or the second link, right? So similarly here also there is a continuous learning available. So continuous learning means it's learning on the job. So as and when user clicks on those search results, it can learn automatically and improve the results. So then there is a custom NLP, right? So there is an inbuilt NLP available, right, which can understand some of the basic nuances of language. Like basic nuances means in the general domain it will understand, but there are situations where it will require advanced NLP capabilities or advanced NLP customizations, right? So in that case there is Watson Knowledge Studio available, so using which you can again build a machine learning model, right? NLP machine learning model, and use that NLP machine learning model. So this Watson Knowledge Studio, you will be going to do a hands-on session and you'll be building a simple model on that. So now let's look at full demo of Watson Discovery. Okay. So this is again a CAN demo. Okay. So let me go here. Okay. So here the scenario is it is for the automobile domain, right? So where there are lots of car manuals available. Okay. And you need to search through the car manuals to be able to answer your user query, right? So for example, how to properly install child restraints. So this is the query, right? So here it's doing a comparison of how AI-based discovery search works and how the traditional search works, and how it's making use of each of those AI capabilities, right? So search. Okay. So in a traditional search, it just it goes through those documents and try to find like wherever it's matching those given words in the sentence, right? But in case of a AI search, it is much more intelligent and it provides much more additional it provides much more to the point information to the user query, right? So here you see that it is showing you probably one exact passage from that big document, right? And it's also highlighting which may potentially be an answer. Okay. So in the traditional search, it's like your full like 100-page document, and you have to go through the pages of the document to be able to pinpoint where the answer may exist. But in case of AI powered search, here the results are much more relevant, right? So let's see like how it's making use of each of those capabilities, AI capabilities. Here you see here Watson is doing like a lot more things, and it's applying machine learning capabilities along with natural language processing capabilities to be able to find these answers. So first is that here the documents are segmented by sections, right? So here the title that you see here, it's not a document title, but it is rather a section title, right? So that title may be coming from your 100th page in the document, right? And it may be a subtitle, and it's doing it using by the smart document understanding model that we have built, right? So we have built a model to train it, saying that these are the subheadings, these are the headings. So it's identifying headings based on that, right? So it directly takes you to that page number 44, because that's where it finds the most relevant answer, right? So the second thing is that it's highlighting you the passage where the answer may lie, so that it becomes much more easier for the user to find the answer. So this is passage retrieval. So then there is NLP enrichments, right? So at the bottom you see lots of tags, right? So these tags are being generated by NLP, right? So there is an inbuilt NLP, and then there is a custom NLP available, and this all these tags are coming through that. So then you have this confidence score, right? So it will give you the results, but along with the results, it also gives you confidence score. So this confidence score will come through your relevancy ranking training that's being done there. And now let's open the document, open the full document. Yeah. So now you'll notice that when you open the documents, it directly taking you to that page number 44 here, right? So in case of traditional search, it will open you for page number 1, and you have to scroll through everything to be able to locate it, right? So here it's a 334 page document, or this is basically a manual, right? Car manual. So it's directly taking you to the page number 44, and it's showing you like that particular page, the same subtitle here that you're seeing earlier, right? And this exact highlighted text is here. Let me go back. Let me look at another one. here also you see like it's going to page number 50 directly, and it's highlighting the text here for you. And bottom you have those tags that coming through your NLP. So let's open this. So here it's directly taking you to the page number 50 here, right? So now let's look at how it's doing all this. So this Watson Discovery is available on IBM Cloud, and also it can be used in an on-premises environment, right? So you create an instance of Watson Discovery. So if you have an account of if you have an account in IBM Cloud, you can create an instance of Watson Discovery there, and then there you will have a option to click on the tooling, and when you open the tooling, the tool will open like this. Then either you can connect to a data source. If your data source is already available in somewhere existing, you can crawl a web page, or you can connect to one of the existing systems like your SharePoint or any of the other ones. If you don't have a data source, you can also upload your documents. You can create a blank collection, and you can then upload your documents from locally from your machine, or there are also APIs available through which you can upload all your documents. So once you upload your documents, let's opening. So once you upload your documents, you will see like count your documents, okay, and you see some kind of a summary. So this is a tool for the developer here. So it's not a runtime tool; it's a developer tool, right? Then you have this smart document understanding here. So this is similarly like another document. This is a kind of a FAQ kind of a document, and if you want to separate these questions and answers separately, here also you can easily mark them. Some of them as say this is a question, this is a question, so it can easily be marked, and so that it gets trained, and it understands like how to interpret a question and an answer, or how to interpret a FAQ document, right? So all this can be trained. And after all this training being done, you can also do some relevancy ranking training, so that it understands how to rank the results. And finally, you need to have an UI, right? So there are APIs available, and through those APIs, so these are REST APIs. So the APIs you connect to the Watson Discovery system, and then you send your queries, and in the response you will get the set of results. So that's a list of it. Okay. So now we have seen that Watson Discovery also allowed some custom NLP, right? Custom natural language processing, and how it does it, right? So that's where the Watson Knowledge Studio comes into picture, which allows you to build a custom machine learning model or custom NLP there. Okay. So why do we need this, right? So the reality is that Watson may not know everything, right? So it knows only the general domain things, and for the specific domains it needs to be taught, right? So if it is like a banking domain or insurance domain or an automobile domain, it may not understand some of those terms that's being used in those industries or domains, right? So in that case they need to be trained, right? So here is an example. So on the left hand side, this is a car crash report, right? So it's saying how the car crashed in an accident, or what car was involved, how the accident happened, like when it happened. All this information is there, right? So typically this car crash report is being read by an automobile expert who understands the domain, right? So if a generic person reads this, he may not be able to understand or interpret what is the exact meaning of this, right? But only an automobile expert will understand each of these words and sentences here, right? Similarly, once you train a custom NLP model, so it will be able to interpret this text based on that domain, right? So here, if you look at say, if 2005 is a model year, right? and Ford Escape XLT 4x4 is a car model, right? So when this incident happened, it happened in July 2014, right? And what is the time of the incident? So it's all this information will be captured by the custom NLP model. So which is basically a domain specific model in this case, right? So if you don't use a domain specific model here, it will not be able to interpret that Ford Escape is a car model. It will not know that, right? So only a custom specific model will know that, and that's why we need that. So this is where Knowledge Studio will come into picture. Okay. So what are the challenges to build this kind of a custom model, right? So the main challenge is that, like, so it's very complicated to build this kind of a model because it involves natural language processing, right? And natural language processing is much more complex to process, right? And you need like lots of expertise to be able to build NLP models, and also it also requires like close collaboration between the domain experts and the developers, because the domain experts are the ones who understand the domain, right? And developers who understand the technology, right? So developers will not understand may not understand the meaning of each of these words, right? If it is a complex domain like say healthcare, right? So they may not understand that domain or some of the words in that domain, right? Only the domain experts will understand, right? So in this case, like it requires a close collaboration between the domain experts and the developers, and that's why like this business tooling Watson Knowledge Studio, it allows you to collaborate between them so that the building of the entire model becomes much more easier here. Okay. So even when you build this model, you still need an application to be able to apply that model into, right? And since there are Watson Discovery, which is an application available, so that Watson Knowledge Studio model, that NLP model can easily be applied here. So here everything is kind of integrated and inbuilt here, right? And the entire process becomes much more easier here, right? So how Watson Knowledge Studio is helping here? So here since NLP is very complicated, so here you teach it by example, right? So what it means that you look at some set of sample text, and you need to visually annotate like what each of them means, right? So then you visually annotate. Even you can involve subject matter experts to be able to annotate those documents or to be able to train it, right? So you basically teach by example, right? And then you also engage your experts who also helps you train all your models, and then you can use it in multiple places, the same model that can be used. Okay. So now how basically this Watson Knowledge Studio model works, right? So this building of this custom NLP model using Watson Knowledge Studio is a process very similar which you use for building. Yes.
Gladys, Ame here. Since considering the time, I think we can go to a demo if you have it. Quickly.
Yeah, quickly. Give me a couple of minutes. I'll quickly go through this, and then we can take any Q&A. Okay. So the process is an iterative process, very similar to how you build a machine learning model. But here the advantage here is that you have lots of tooling available to make the process much more easier and simpler, right? So you basically define a type system, you have some set of documents, you do human annotation, you finally click a button to build your trained model, and then you evaluate your model, and you keep on doing it iteratively till you achieve your desired your recall and accuracy numbers. Okay. So I'll quickly show one more thing. So how exactly you do it, how exactly the model works in the runtime, right? So when it finds a sentence, it will first tokenize it, segmentation, it will do parsing, right? So if you look at this color tagging, right, those are basically like this green color is a person, your yellow color is time. Okay. Then it will try to find co-references. Co-references is basically the mention of the same entity, right? Here the first Yu Si Chen, the former first wife, visited her husband. So here her means what? Her is basically So you notice the numbers here on top, like her is number 1 and this is 1. So this is called co-reference. Basically, her is referring to Uzi Chen. So it will intend reference resolutions, and then also it will identify relations, right? So how one entity is related to another entity. So it will identify all of them, and that's how it builds its custom machine learning model. Anyhow, you will be doing a small exercise post lunch, so you will be able to understand a bit more. So let's take any questions.